While most people think farming means barely scraping by, a secret revolution is happening in backyards and small plots across the world. Hidden from view, ordinary people are building million-dollar livestock empires using methods so simple they'll shock you. From a man in Texas who makes $2 million annually raising crickets in his garage, to a woman in Vietnam earning $800,000 yearly from snails. These aren't your grandfather's farming methods. It's creatures most people would never consider, and the startup costs are so low that anyone can begin today with just a few $100s. But here's what makes this even more incredible. While traditional farmers struggle with massive overhead, these livestock revolutionaries are operating with profit margins that would make tech companies jealous. Some are seeing returns of 500% to 1,000% on their initial investments within just 6 months. Today I'm revealing the exact animals, methods, and secrets that are creating these extraordinary success stories. By the end of this video, you'll understand why smart investors are quietly moving their money into these unconventional livestock operations, and more importantly, how you can start your own profitable operation this weekend. The Peacock gold mine that's making farmers rich beyond belief. Meet James Richardson from Georgia, who stumbled into what he calls his accidental fortune. 3 years ago, James was a struggling construction worker, barely making ends meet. Today, he owns over 200 peacocks and generates more than $400,000 annually from what he describes as the most beautiful business on earth. Peacocks aren't just stunning birds. They're walking treasure chests. A single breeding pair of rare white peacocks can sell for $25,000. Even common blue peacocks command $2,000 to $5,000 per pair. But here's where it gets truly exciting. Female peacocks lay 20 to 40 eggs per season, and with proper incubation, 80% successfully hatch. James explains his simple math. Start with 10 breeding pairs costing $15,000. Each pair produces an average of 30 chicks annually. At conservative prices of $500 per chick, that's $150,000 in revenue from your initial $15,000 investment. After feed costs of roughly $3,000 annually, you're looking at profits exceeding 900%. But the real money isn't just in selling birds. James discovered that peacock feathers are liquid gold. Individual tail feathers sell for $5 to $25 each online. Premium display feathers can reach $50. A single molting season from 50 adult peacocks produces over 2,000 sellable feathers, generating an additional $15,000 to $30,000 annually. The feeding costs are surprisingly low. Peacocks are omnivores eating standard poultry feed, supplemented with insects, fruits, and vegetables. James spends roughly $150 monthly feeding 200 birds. Compare this to cattle, where a single cow costs $100 monthly just in feed. Housing requirements are minimal. Unlike traditional livestock needing expensive barns, peacocks thrive in simple 3-sided shelters. James built his entire operation using recycled materials and basic carpentry skills. Total shelter cost for 200 birds was under $5,000. The breeding process requires minimal intervention. Peacocks naturally mate and nest. James simply provides nesting boxes and collects eggs for incubation. Modern incubators costing $200 to $500 handle the rest automatically. What makes peacocks even more attractive is their multiple revenue streams. Beyond bird sales and feathers, James rents peacocks for weddings and events at $200 per bird per day. Last year, event rentals alone generated $45,000. The market demand continues exploding. Wealthy homeowners want peacocks as living lawn ornaments. Zoos and petting farms constantly need breeding stock. International buyers pay premium prices for rare color variations. James reveals his biggest secret. Location matters less than you think. Peacocks adapt to various climates and thrive in spaces as small as half an acre. Urban and suburban farmers successfully raise peacocks in areas where traditional livestock would be impossible. The underground roach empire generating passive income. This next story will challenge everything you think you know about profitable livestock. Sarah Chen from California discovered that the most disgusting creature on earth could be her ticket to financial freedom. She now operates what she calls her cockroach empire, generating $180,000 annually from creatures most people pay exterminators to eliminate. Sarah breeds dubia roaches, a clean species that doesn't fly, climb glass, or emit odors like common household roaches. These roaches are premium food for reptiles, birds, and exotic pets. The exotic pet industry spends over $2 billion annually on live food, and dubia roaches command the highest prices. The numbers are staggering. Sarah started with 1,000 roaches costing $600. Female dubia roaches produce 25 offspring monthly and reproduce for 2 years. Within 6 months, her colony exploded to over 50,000 roaches. At wholesale prices of $0.15 per roach, she was generating $7,500 monthly by month 6. The setup costs are minimal. Sarah uses plastic storage containers costing $20 each. Egg crates provide surfaces for roaches to climb and hide. Feed mats maintain optimal temperatures. Her entire breeding facility occupying 10 square feet of garage space cost under $500 to establish. Feeding costs are virtually nothing. Roaches eat vegetable scraps, old fruit, and specialized roach chow. Sarah spends roughly $50 monthly feeding 100,000 roaches. Compare this to any traditional livestock, and the efficiency becomes mind-blowing. The maintenance requirements are incredibly low. Sarah spends 30 minutes daily checking temperatures and adding food scraps. Once weekly, she sorts roaches by size for sale. No veterinary bills, no complex equipment, no weather concerns. Revenue streams multiply quickly. Pet stores pay $0.15 to $0.25 per roach wholesale. Direct sales to reptile owners bring $0.30 to $0.50 per roach. Online sales through platforms like Josh's Frogs or dubiaroaches.com reach premium pricing. Sarah discovered breeding roaches is recession-proof. Economic downturns increase exotic pet ownership as people seek affordable entertainment. Pet reptiles need consistent food regardless of economic conditions. Her customer base actually grew during recent economic uncertainty. The scalability amazes even Sarah. Adding breeding containers requires minimal investment. Each container generates $500 to $800 monthly profit once established. Sarah now operates 50 containers and plans to reach 100 containers within 2 years. What shocked Sarah most was the customer loyalty. Reptile owners develop relationships with reliable roach suppliers. They'll pay premium prices for consistent quality and reliable delivery. Sarah's customer retention rate exceeds 90%, creating predictable monthly income. The legal advantages surprised her too. Most locations don't regulate roach breeding since they're considered pet food. No licensing requirements, no inspections, no regulatory overhead that burdens traditional livestock operations. The snail fortune that's crushing traditional farming. What happened next in Vietnam will completely change how you think about slow and steady winning the race. Nguyen Dai Mai started with 500 snails in her backyard and now operates a snail empire generating over $300,000 annually. But these aren't ordinary garden snails. She breeds giant African land snails and apple snails that have created an underground gold rush few people know about. The profit margins are absolutely insane. Mai's initial investment was just $200 for breeding stock and basic equipment. Giant African land snails sell for $2 to $5 each, depending on size. A single breeding snail produces 100 to 400 eggs every few months. With survival rates of 80%, the multiplication happens faster than you can imagine. Here's the math that made my wealthy. Starting with 100 breeding snails costing $300, each snail produces an average of 200 offspring twice yearly. That's 40,000 baby snails annually. At wholesale prices of $1 each, gross revenue hits $40,000 from a $300 investment. After minimal feed costs, profit margins exceed 1,200%. The setup requirements are shockingly simple. My uses plastic containers with air holes and moist soil. Snails need humidity, darkness, and basic vegetable scraps for food. Her entire breeding facility fits in a 200-square-foot shed that cost $800 to build. Feeding costs are practically zero. Snails eat lettuce, carrots, fruits, and vegetables that grocery stores often discard. My established relationships with local markets to collect their vegetable waste free. Her monthly feeding costs for 10,000 snails average just $30. The market demand stunned even my. Restaurants specializing in exotic cuisine pay premium prices for fresh snails. High-end establishments serve escargot and snail-based dishes commanding $25 to $40 per plate. Pet stores need snails as food for pufferfish and other aquatic species. International shipping opened explosive opportunities. My exports breeding stock to collectors in Europe and North America, where giant snails sell for $20 to $50 each. Her reputation for healthy, well-bred snails created waiting lists of international customers. But the real breakthrough came when Mai discovered the beauty industry's secret. Snail slime contains powerful skin healing compounds. Cosmetic companies pay extraordinary prices for pure snail secretions. Mai now harvests slime from her snails using stress-free methods, generating an additional $50,000 annually. The breeding process requires zero skill. Snails are hermaphrodites that reproduce naturally when conditions are right. Mai simply maintains proper humidity and temperature. Eggs hatch automatically within 2 weeks. Baby snails reach sellable size in 3 to 6 months. Weather doesn't affect operations. Unlike outdoor livestock, snails thrive in controlled indoor environments. No storms, droughts, or seasonal disruptions impact production. Mai operates consistently year-round regardless of external conditions. The scalability shocked everyone. Adding breeding containers costs under $50 each. Each container generates $200 to $400 monthly profit once established. Mai expanded from 5 containers to 200 containers over 3 years without requiring additional space or complicated infrastructure. The cricket revolution making ordinary people millionaires. The most shocking success story comes from David Park in Texas, who transformed crickets from annoying noisemakers into his personal money printing machines. David now generates over $2 million annually from cricket farming, supplying protein powder companies, pet food manufacturers, and exotic restaurants worldwide. The numbers will blow your mind. Crickets reproduce at rates that make rabbits look slow. A single female cricket lays 100 eggs weekly for 8 weeks. Those eggs hatch in 10 days and reach harvest size in 6 weeks. Starting with 1,000 crickets, David's operation exploded to over 5 million crickets within 4 months. Cricket protein sells for $15 to $25 per pound to supplement companies. Live crickets command $0.10 to $0.15 each for pet food. Cricket flour reaches $40 per pound in health food markets. David's monthly production of 50,000 pounds generates revenue exceeding $750,000. The startup costs are incredibly low. David's entire operation began in a 1,000-square-foot warehouse costing $800 monthly rent. Plastic breeding containers, heating systems, and basic equipment totaled $5,000. Compare this to traditional livestock requiring hundreds of thousands in infrastructure. Feeding crickets costs almost nothing. They eat kitchen scraps, grain dust, and specialized cricket feed costing $0.20 per pound. David feeds 5 million crickets for under $2,000 monthly. The feed conversion ratio amazes everyone. Crickets convert feed to protein 6 times more efficiently than cattle. The environmental advantages create premium pricing opportunities. Crickets produce 80% fewer greenhouse gases than traditional livestock. They require 2,000 times less water than beef production. Environmental consciousness drives customers to pay premium prices for sustainable protein sources. Processing happens automatically. David invested $50,000 in automated harvesting and processing equipment that handles 10,000 crickets hourly. The system separates crickets by size, cleans them, and packages them for sale. One employee operates equipment that would require 20 people using manual methods. Multiple revenue streams multiply profits exponentially. Live crickets sell to pet stores and reptile owners. Processed crickets supply protein powder companies. Cricket flour sells to health-conscious consumers. Fried crickets command premium prices in exotic food markets. The customer base grows explosively. Professional athletes consume cricket protein for sustainable nutrition. Survival enthusiasts stockpile cricket protein for emergency preparedness. International markets in Asia and Europe pay extraordinary prices for high-quality cricket products. Seasonal variations don't exist. Unlike traditional farming subject to weather and seasons, cricket production remains constant year-round. Climate-controlled environments ensure consistent production regardless of external conditions. David maintains steady revenue streams without seasonal fluctuations. The fish farming fortune that requires no experience. The final revelation will demonstrate how artificial intelligence and modern technology have eliminated every barrier to livestock success. Marcus Thompson from Florida went from complete beginner to catfish millionaire in just 18 months using systems so automated they practically run themselves. Marcus discovered that catfish farming using recirculating aquaculture systems generates profits that dwarf traditional agriculture. His operation produces 100,000 pounds of catfish annually in just 2,000 square feet of space. At wholesale prices of $4 per pound, gross revenue exceeds $400,000 from minimal space. The technology eliminates traditional farming knowledge requirements. Automated systems monitor water quality, adjust temperature, and regulate feeding schedules. Smartphone apps provide real-time monitoring and alert systems. Marcus manages his entire operation remotely while maintaining his day job. Initial setup costs have plummeted due to technological advances. Complete recirculating systems cost $25,000 to $50,000 depending on capacity. Financing options and government grants often cover 50% to 70% of costs. Break-even typically occurs within 12 to 18 months. Feed conversion ratios make catfish incredibly profitable. Modern pellet feeds convert at 1.5 pounds of feed per pound of fish produced. Premium catfish feeds cost $0.80 per pound. Producing 1 pound of catfish costs $1.20 in feed plus minimal operational expenses. The market demand exceeds supply consistently. Restaurants prefer locally sourced fresh catfish over frozen imports. Grocery stores pay premium prices for sustainably raised fish. Direct-to-consumer sales through farmers markets command $8 to $12 per pound. Multiple species multiply revenue opportunities. Marcus raises catfish, bass, and tilapia in separate systems. Each species commands different market prices and harvest schedules. Diversification ensures consistent cash flow throughout the year. Processing adds tremendous value. Fresh fillets sell for double the price of whole fish. Smoked and seasoned products command premium pricing. Value-added processing transforms $4 wholesale fish into $15 retail products. The scalability amazes investors. Adding production tanks requires minimal additional infrastructure. Each tank generates $50,000 to $100,000 annually once established. Marcus plans to reach 20 tanks within 5 years, projecting $2 million annual revenue. Water recycling eliminates environmental concerns. Systems recycle 99% of water through biological and mechanical filtration. Waste products become valuable fertilizer sold to organic farmers. Environmental sustainability creates marketing advantages and premium pricing opportunities. The technology revolution that's democratizing livestock wealth. What makes these success stories even more remarkable is how modern technology has eliminated every traditional barrier to livestock farming. Gone are the days when you needed decades of experience, massive land holdings, or generational farming knowledge. Today's livestock revolution is powered by artificial intelligence, automated systems, and smartphone apps that guide complete beginners to million-dollar success. Consider the automated incubation systems that have transformed poultry breeding. Modern incubators cost just $300 to $500 but deliver results that once required master breeders. These machines automatically control temperature, humidity, and turning schedules. Success rates exceed 85%, even for complete novices. Sarah Johnson from Oregon hatched 2,000 peacock chicks last year using 3 automated incubators, generating $400,000 in sales. Smart feeding systems eliminate guesswork and reduce labor costs dramatically. Automated feeders dispense precise portions at optimal times. Smartphone apps monitor consumption patterns and adjust feeding schedules. Weight sensors track animal growth and alert farmers to potential health issues. These systems cost $500 to $2,000 per installation but reduce feeding labor by 80% while improving growth rates. Environmental control technology makes location irrelevant. Climate-controlled buildings maintain perfect conditions regardless of outside weather. Heating, cooling, and ventilation systems respond automatically to sensor data. Farmers in Alaska successfully raise tropical species using these systems. Location no longer limits your livestock choices. Water management systems have revolutionized aquaculture and hydroponic operations. Recirculating systems filter and reuse water continuously. Automated testing monitors pH, dissolved oxygen, and ammonia levels. Smartphone alerts notify farmers of any parameter changes. These systems reduce water usage by 95% while increasing production density exponentially. This technology transforms breeding from art to science. Market connectivity platforms connect small producers directly with buyers worldwide. Online marketplaces eliminate middleman costs and increase profits. Digital payment systems handle transactions securely. Shipping partnerships provide logistics support. After revealing these incredible success stories and proven strategies, the question becomes simple. Will you take action this weekend to start building your own livestock fortune, Kaishan? Or will you continue watching others succeed while you remain stuck in traditional thinking about money and farming? The question isn't whether you can succeed. The question is whether you'll take action or continue making excuses while opportunities pass you by. The livestock revolution is happening with or without you. Make sure you're part of the success story, not watching from the sidelines wondering what might have been. This weekend could be the beginning of your transformation from traditional employee to livestock entrepreneur. The choice is entirely yours, but the opportunity won't wait forever. Take action now, and a year from today you could be sharing your own million-dollar livestock success story. What are you waiting for? Your livestock fortune begins with a single decision to start. Make that decision today, and thank yourself a year from now when you're counting profits instead of making excuses. The animals are waiting, the markets are ready, And your future wealth depends on the action you take right now.
Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.